Hi, Joyce at Delightful Quilting and Sewing, a knolting dealer in Avon, New York. Today and for the next couple of days, I'm going to be doing several short videos on Quiltmagine and covering some of the very important things that you need to know as a Quiltmagine owner, or if you're considering Quiltmagine even. Today, one of the things I want to talk about is the installation of Quiltmagine onto your knolting machine, whether it is a pro machine like this one, or whether it is a fun quilter, or an older IS2K machine, which has the same body style as the pro, or on the CLX, same body style here as the pro, but the controller like the knolting fun quilter. Any stitch regulated knolting machine can have Quiltmagine robotic system on it. One of the things that I've learned in the years that I've been working with Quiltmagine, which has been since 2014, is that we know a lot more today than we did back then when we first started. It was pretty crude when we first set up the first one, and I was probably the first person or the second person that had a Quiltmagine system. A lot of things have changed. One has been the carriage has changed. It's totally different. So we have a carriage today that looks just like the normal Quiltmagine carriages. It didn't start out that way. This carriage functions much better for what we want to do. But today, talking about the installation, one of the things that I've discovered in working with many people across the country with their Quiltmagine systems is I have a feeling that they are not installed as they should be. There is a better way to make the installation. One of the things about any computer guided system out there, whether it is Quiltmagine or any of the other robotic systems out there, is you have your system components. There's going to be a tablet that you operate from, and Quiltmagine operates from a touch screen tablet of any type. This one happens to be a Surface tablet. We have our connection here between the hardware and the machine. And we have a connection between, right here, the USB cable between the tablet and the hardware down below. So we have our tablet, we have a wiring harness here, we have a USB cable up here. Here's our wiring harness that goes into the head on this one, and our USB cable up here. And going around to the side and the back of the system right here, what actually makes it work. Down here is a motor unit that is fastened to the bottom of the carriage. Coming into the motor unit is this Ethernet cord, and then there is a USB-B cable here. This has a plug on it similar to one that goes into a printer, and this is where the USB from the tablet plugs in. This Ethernet cord goes into a little black junction box that I have mounted right here on the side of my machine. The correct way for this box to be mounted is with the Ethernet cord in the bottom, not out of the top, but coming out of the bottom. And then on the sides of this, and they're usually labeled with numbers 1 and 2, are two little wires right here, one with a red and black wire, and the one on the other side over here that has a green and a white wire. Now, I'll tell you what these go to. The red and the black wire integrate with the on-off switch of your machine. The green and white wire integrate with a single stitch on your machine. And those both go through this gray cable right here, the wiring harness that goes up and into the head on the Pro right here. If you have a fun quilter, then these wires right here, the green and white one and the red and black one, there are two of those, and they plug into these little plugs right down here on the fun quilter. They come apart and it goes in between the two pieces right there. This is the side right here. The right hand handle is your on-off switch, and the left hand handle over here is your single stitch. So the wires plug in, one on each side, the single stitch over here and the on-off over here. And again, the other ends of those go into that little black box. So the important thing is getting all of this stuff secured to the machine. One of the things that we are noticing more recently and discovering that it is a big problem is that this little black box is not tethered to the machine, so that this Ethernet cord right here coming out of the bottom of this box would wobble back and forth. And I've taken a number of calls in the last few months, and what is happening is it's wobbling in this box. Every time that wobbles, it breaks the connection. And that breaks the connection between the on-off switch and your machine. So in reality, it's telling your machine to turn off, turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off, turn on. And that's in addition to your stitch regulator, which is also turning the motor on and off, on and off, on and off. But this is a little bit different because this is actually turning the machine off and then instantly turning it back on. This is the correct way that this should be fastened onto your machine. On a Pro, I've got it on the side of my machine because I can take out the little screw right there and put this cable tie on it and screw it back in. This secures this Ethernet cable right here on the bottom of this black box so that it does not move, it does not wobble, and you won't get that constant breaking of the connection. In addition to that, I put one more down here to secure the cable, and then I've got my other cable coming down, and they're tied together right there with a zip tie. Very important to keep that Ethernet cord. If you think about an Ethernet cord, the applications of that go into your cable box in your home, and it just sits there. It never flexes. We're asking it to do a lot here because it ends up flexing, flexing, flexing. The other end of that, which is down here, going into the motor plate, the box on the motor plate right here. This typically doesn't go up and down. This actually flexes a lot more, and I'm suspect that maybe the plug on it is getting a little bit worn out. Again, this has to be secure. Most of the time down here, it's just riding along and it's not flexing. This cord is not going back and forth. With your installation, it should be absolutely clean. There should be no tails, no rolls of cable wound up anywhere. It needs to be clean. The other thing that I highly recommend to clean up everything and make sure everything works well is the cords in the back. Those ones that go down to the side, down here. I have those tucked down through the space just to the right of my chain cord right here. You can see these two cables right here going right through that opening right down to there, and it keeps them nice and snug and secure. They're not going to be wobbling around. They should not be tailing around underneath the channel or any other configuration. Again, they need to be in a secure position. I have these zip tied together so that they don't go anywhere. And sometimes, depending on how much other wire there is here, this gray wire down here is the electric wire from my chain cord that goes into my power box over here. Sometimes I even zip tie it to that, but this one, there wasn't quite enough room to do that. But I've secured them so that they're not going to be wobbling around. You want to cut the wobble out because it's just detrimental to the operation of the whole system. So when you get done, everything needs to be cleaned up and secured, fastened to the machine so that they're not moving. Now, I'm a dealer, so I haven't used anything other than zip ties here to fasten these together. because at some point this machine will go out the door to some customer, and I don't want to have little cable ties fastened to the machine. So you can see I've got a zip tie up there, and these are just fastened here and into my shepherd's hook here just to secure them. Normally on an installation, I would have the little cable holders up underneath here, and these would be tucked securely up there to make it a nice clean install. So those are some of the things that we find that have been very, very important. And in the calls that I've had for help with this kind of thing, this happens to be one of the issues is right here at this box. When the connection is constantly being broken, and that's causing issues with Quiltmagine stitching the way that it should stitch. So today, this is the install. Tomorrow I'm going to be talking about something else that can be an issue, and we've had a number of people posting on Quiltmagine Facebook page about tracing, and so I'm going to deal with that issue tomorrow. So I hope to see you again soon. I don't think I'll call it Tech Tuesday because it'll be Wednesday, but I'm going to continue this series on Quiltmagine tomorrow. Have a great day.